The second method is to use a more definitive test which provides additional information to set the ground truth. For example, to determine whether a patient has a mass using a chest x-ray, a more definitive test that can be performed is a CT scan. The CT scan shows the 3D structure of the potential abnormality, thus giving the radiologist more information. If a mass is confirmed on the CT, we can then assign that ground truth to the chest x-ray. In the dermatology study we saw earlier, the ground truth for the test set was determined by a skin lesion biopsy. This is a medical procedure in which a sample of the skin with the suspected cancer is removed and tested in a lab. The results of this test are then used to set the ground truth for the photo image. We've now looked at two methods to set the ground truth or reference standard: consensus voting and having a more definitive test. With the second method, the difficulty is that we might not have these additional tests available. Not everyone who gets a chest x-ray gets a CT scan, and not everyone who has a potentially suspicious skin lesion gets a biopsy. Thus, having a reliable ground truth with an existing dataset often has to use the first method of getting a consensus ground truth on the existing data, which is the strategy that many medical AI studies use. Thus, we have covered our three challenges with algorithm testing and some solutions in the context of medicine. We've seen how we can split by patient in the creation of training, validation, and test sets, how we can sample a minimum percent of minority class examples in the test set, and how we can use consensus voting or a more definitive test to set the ground truth. Congratulations on completing the first week. This week, you've learned about examples of deep learning models for tasks across several fields of medicine, and have learned about all the techniques needed to both train and test your own high-performance model for chest x-ray interpretation. You'll get to implement these ideas in the assignment and have your own chest x-ray interpretation model. In the next week, you'll learn about ideas and methods to evaluate the models that you've built. See you then.